Nested components. In this video, we are going to discuss about what are nested components, what is bootstrap component, what is parent component and child component. Simple example program to understand all this. Angular components can be nested. That means a component can be used within another component. That outside component is called as parent component and inner component is called as child component. Angular framework starts the Angular application by instantiating the bootstrap component. Most of the cases, app component is the bootstrap component. This is specified in bootstrap array of app module. If any other component needs to be used in Angular application, that component should be nested inside app component or its child components. All these nested components can be represented as a tree of components, and app component is the root component. Each component can have input properties and output properties. These properties are used to pass the data from parent component to child component and child component to parent component. If the component has input properties, so the data can be passed from parent component to child component, and the child component uses the data. If the component has output properties, so the data can be passed from child component to parent component, and parent component can use that data. Okay, and this we can represent it with the simple example of block diagram. App component. Within the app component, we have used component 1 and component 2. So these component 1 and component 2 are child component for the app component. Here component 3 is used within component 1. So component 3 is the child component for component 1. Okay, here component 3 has input property and output property. If it has the input property, it can get the data from parent component. If it has the output property, it can pass the data to the parent component. Let us try to understand all this with simple example program. This is the simple example program which was created by Angular CLI. Yeah, here we can see the app module, app component. Let me open this app module. Here we can see that bootstrap array where app component is specified. So app component is used to start the application by the Angular framework. So Angular framework instantiate the app component. Okay, if any other component to be used in this Angular application, all those component should be nested inside app component or its child components. Let us try to construct the same structure which we were discussed. Okay, for that we need to create the components. If you want to create the component, ng generate component. This one we have discussed in components video. Kindly watch those videos. Ng generate. Let me give the same name. Component 1. Yeah, component 1 is created. Let me create one more component with the name component 2. Component 2 is created. Let me create the one more component, component 3. Yeah, we can see that 3 components have been created. Let's try to open component 1. Here component 1 works. Test will be displayed if you use component 1. If you want to use this component 1, you have to use app component 1 selector. Okay, same way component 2 displays component 2 works text. If you want to use this, you have to use this selector. Okay, component 3 also same. Component 3 works text will be displayed. You have to use this app component 3 selector. Okay, let us try to construct the same tree structure. Okay, This is the app component HTML. Okay, you have to open this thing. Let me all delete this. Okay, here I want to use app component 1 and 2. Okay, for that you have to use, for app component 1 you have to use this selector. Okay, here one more component you want to use, so we need to copy this selector. Okay, component 3 we want to use it in component 1, so we need to copy the component 3 selector. Yeah, we can understand that app component is the root component. Within this component we have used app component 1 and 2. Okay, in app component 1 we have used app component 3. Okay, now let us run this application and see the output. Ran successfully. Let us, yeah, we can see that text coming from 1, 3 and 2. Here component 1 works and component 3 works are part of component 1, because component 3 is child component for component 1, so both are displayed. Then component 2 works, text is displayed. This is the way we can use components in a nested format. Thank you.